how we get down. What's good, everybody? Welcome in. It is a Monday, and you know what that means. It's our busiest day of the week here at the brand at BTT Studios. It's also a holiday week, so I know there's a lot of you out there that are brand new, that are just out there looking for a new show, a new way to start your morning. Well, this is where it's at. I am the coach, and I navigate this ship, and we've got a ton of content. Sports, pro wrestling, we got it all. Let's set the table for you. In addition to us being live every single morning right here on the Stadium Network, Prime Video, DirecTV, YouTube TV. Also coming up at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, SiriusXM, Channel 156, Off the Ropes with the Coach, your boy, as we break down everything pro wrestling. But then we get into the business of pro wrestling on the Coach and Bro Show with me and the greatest writer in the history of the business, Vince Russo, also the creative mind behind JCW Lunacy Wrestling. Now that's 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Our last episode, the highest viewed we've ever had in the first 24 hours of the show. Then at 7 p.m. Eastern tonight, it's a big Monday Night Football game. Shout out to our guy, Big Cheesy, as the 49ers and the Colts, both teams are in the playoff hunt. So tonight is a must-win for both. Phillip Rivers getting his second start. We'll break that down coming up in about 30 minutes. In addition to that, we've got the weekend rewind. The college football quarterfinals are set in the playoffs, and also a ton. If you missed all of the NFL games over the weekend, a ton of things happened. Some good, some not so good. And we never forget about the NBA showcase coming up in about 45 minutes. But we're not just a sports show. We're also a sports betting show. And I want 5 straight days of winning picks. But it's got to start today. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, they are here. I wonder how aggressive they're going to be today. We're about to find out. Let's beat the books. All right, we are going 5 wide on a Monday, and look at this motley crew. Oh, my goodness. Now, I got to go upper left because I heard a little nasty rumor that the executive producer of BetMGM tonight, Brandon Combs, hit a 40-1 long shot last night. Is that correct?
Morning, Coach. Morning, company. That is absolutely correct. NFL was good to me yesterday. I gave it out, too. So anybody who followed it, anybody who had the cojones that I had when I placed the bet, you got paid last night.
Now, I don't know how many 5-leg parlays that anybody else hits, but right now, the man who's repping the brand to your left, to my right, as I'm looking at the screen, I'm surprised he's not shaking his head. He's our numbers guy for a reason. Say good morning to Rafael Esparza. Good morning, Rafael.
Good morning, Coach. Good morning, family. It's a holiday Monday. Should be a great Monday. We have a fantastic Monday Night Football and a bowl game this afternoon. So who doesn't like an afternoon football game?
That's what I'm talking about. And speaking of afternoon, you could translate over to day soccer, 2 of our favorite words. And this guy's an absolute cash register. Say good morning to the man live from the dirty Big Chuck. Good morning.
Morning, Coach Man Company. How about them Saints getting the 5 wins? So much for those under 4.5 tickets. Rip those apart. Plus, we have a big week in the soccer world. Ready to get it going.
You're damn right we are. By the way, Taysom Hill, a little bit emotional yesterday. I think it's his last home game. I think their last 2 games are on the road. 9 years. Hard to believe he's been there 9 years. These years are just flying by. We're coming up on 1 year here at the brand. And finally, the team in his city is starting to figure it out. The Grizzlies. He's live from Memphis, Tennessee. DG, good morning.
Morning, Coach. Morning, guys. It's the holiday season. Yeah, it's going to be a good time to ask Grandma for $20 so we can put it on a parlay with Brandon this week. It's going to be a good time for Christmas week for sure.
That would have paid $800 if you would have done that on a $20 bet. All right, gentlemen, we also, let me check my notes. It's December 22nd, which means we've got our 22nd day to Coachmas as we unwrap 5 gifts for the good people at home. But before we get to that, I have my guy.
Raphael's not beating me this time.
DG wants all the smoke. DG, best bet. Start us off. Go.
It is the holiday season, so I'm bringing 3 bangers to you right here. We're going to go Eddie Piñeiro over 1.5 field goals at -110. He's cashed 2+ field goals in 80% of the games this season. While Indy, they've allowed 2+ field goals in 4 straight, but over those 4 games, they've allowed 15 total field goal attempts. I like Eddie to cash for us tonight. And then we're going to go with Con Knipple of the Charlotte Hornets going over the 19.5 points at +115, 20+ points. He just put up 29 this past week against Cleveland. He's averaging 22.5 in away games. That's big for us tonight because this is an away game. That same game, Hornets at the Cavs, first quarter over 57.5 at -110. Charlotte's covered this line in 5 straight games. Cleveland, they've done this in 7 of 8. They just had 62 just a week ago. I like this game to fly over in the first quarter over 57.5.
Very interesting, because it seems like, DG, I need to go next because we have a little bit. Everybody say it with me. Yeet. Okay. I'm going to go the full game total. Hornets, Cavs. Now, last week we were doing a premium pop-up that we do from time to time. I encourage you to become a premium member. You can do it right now. The QR code is on the screen. Over 238.5. The Cavs had a little bit of a lull as far as their scoring is concerned. That has now been flipped back around. They're back scoring like crazy. The Hornets, they play absolutely no defense. So we're going to cash the first quarter. We're going to cash the game. Then I'm going to DG City. The Grizzlies, they're taking on the Thunder. And we knew at some point this season, the whole chase for 73 was going to hit a speed bump. That bump has come. They've lost 2 out of their last 3, and it's still 15.5 points. Win or lose, the Grizzlies have been within this number for 5, 6 straight. Today, they keep it within 10. I love the Grizzlies tonight. All right, Big Chuck, my guy. 3 plays. You're also in the holiday mood. You're up.
As you said before, a little day soccer, EPL, Fulham, and Nottingham Forest. The Cottagers, they come in having scored in 5 straight. Tricky Trees, 5 of 7. I like that trend to continue. Go ahead and give me the both teams to score. Plus, I like the visitors to strike early. Nottingham Forest, first half team total over half a goal. Fulham have just been allowing first half goals, 5 in their last 3 matches. Then the NFL nightcap, Colts, 49ers, and I'm going to ride the hot hand against this banged up secondary. George Kittle, over 67.5 receiving yards. He has reached at least 67 in his last 5 games.
Did you say Fulham had allowed 5 goals in the last 3 games in the first half or total?
That's 5 first half goals in their last 3 matches. One of them multi-goals.
That's crazy. Absolutely crazy. And I love day soccer, EPL, one of our absolute favorites. All right, Big Chuck, thank you very much. So we've got 2 left. I guess I'll ask it twice because I'm in the holiday mood. Who? That's what I thought. Raphael, you're up.
We're going to Monday Night Football. Give me Christian McCaffrey over 38.5 receiving yards. This is a Christmas gift. There's 14 games this year. He has cashed just 12 times. One screen pass can probably cash this one. I like CMC tonight going over 30.5 receiving yards, which opened up at 35.5. Crazy. Give me Northern Iowa St. Mary's in college basketball. Give me the over 130.5. The Gales have been very upset since they lost to Boise State. They're coming off an 88-point win or 88-75 win at home against FAU. Now Northern Iowa comes to town, and the total's 130.5. I'll take the over with the Gales winning easily.
By the way, talking about the 49ers, because I know we have several best bets on that game. It's rare that you see with 2 games to go, and for the 49ers, 3 games to go, 3 teams in one division has already qualified for the playoffs. Seattle, Rams, 49ers. They're in. Now it's a matter of where they position themselves, who's going to be the number 1 seed, and perhaps, Brandon, who's going to score the touchdowns tonight to get to that point. That's where you come in.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of scoring tonight on the San Francisco side of the ball. I think the Niners are that team tonight. But I like Jawan Jennings. Anytime touchdown, one of Brock Purdy's favorite targets. He is plus 135 to get into the end zone tonight. I love him. And then Jonathan Taylor under 119.5 rushing and receiving yards. This San Francisco defense, even though it's banged up, is going to key in on stopping the run a lot like they did last week against Seattle. They're going to take away they're going to take away Jonathan Taylor, and you're going to see Jonathan Taylor not get to 119.5 rushing and receiving yards.
It does seem like a big number, doesn't it? It seems like a really big number. I'm looking at 12 plays. So if we go 8-4 tomorrow, we will give out a free piece of merch to some live viewer on the Wheel of Doom. But we're also in the giving mood this entire month. It is December 22nd, so it is our 22nd day as we unwrap gifts to Coachmas. All righty, let's go to DG. What is the gift that you're unwrapping from underneath the tree today?
Yeah, Coach, the Jets suck, and I think we get that. But let me just tell you this stat real quick, because Garrett Wilson, he last caught a pass on October the 12th. That was this year, not too long ago, but that does seem like a good bit ago, because he is still the Jets' leading receiver this season with just 395 yards. So I don't know what that tells you about the Jets offense, whether it's the quarterbacks that suck, whether it's just their receivers that suck. But I think the whole entire franchise sucks, because that's horrible and embarrassing.
So you're unwrapping coal this morning is essentially
Yes.
what we're doing. That's the gift that we're unwrapping. All right, Brandon, what is the gift that you're unwrapping this morning?
Coach, take this for what you will. Phillip Rivers, undefeated versus the San Francisco 49ers. He has a 105.4 passer rating, 1,200 yards passing, and 12 touchdowns in 4 games against the San Francisco 49ers. He is 4-0, but the Grinch to come in and steal this gift away, he hasn't played him since 2018.
Oh, 7 years. If the Colts beat the 49ers tonight, all you can do is tip your cap. That's all you can do. Love that nugget, though. Love that gift. All right, Raphael, what gift are you unwrapping this morning?
My gift is sibling love. We all know the outcome of the Jake Paul fight, but I was so impressed at how Logan Paul jumped in the ring to see how his brother was. I have a twin brother. We call each other every day. How'd you do in sports? How's the family? Whatever. I was just so in touch by the gift of sibling love this Christmas holiday. Make sure you tell your loved ones Merry Christmas and you love them.
I like that a lot. He was also at the hospital when he had surgery, and then at the after party the next day. All right, Big Chuck, what gift are you unwrapping today?
I'm gonna stick with the Grinch theme. How about the Fighting DGs, the AKA Memphis Grizzlies? They go to their personal house of horrors. They visit OKC, where they have failed to cover in 9 straight. We got Alabama across the line last week. Let's see if we can get those Grizzlies tonight.
See, I wanted to go head up against you. That's why I picked them as one of my best bets, because I will not have coal in the stockings this morning. Thank you all for it. Now, my gift is that as we unwrap coaching gifts today, there are still loyal coaches out there. Ole Miss, it was a long month. It was all negative stories with Lane Kiffin. And Pete Golding cuts his hair, looks like a head coach, walks out. There's Eli Manning, the most incredible light show. The whole day was amazing, but he was loyal. He sits down. First thing in his press conference, Charlie Weiss Jr. It was his offense, not Lane Kiffin's. Puts him over right from the jump, 41 points. They looked amazing. That's loyalty. And I wonder if somewhere Lane Kiffin is going, damn, that looked like a lot of fun. Pete Golding, respect your loyalty. All right, still to come. We're just getting started. We've got the Weekend Rewind. We've got NFL storylines, and there are a ton. And we have the NBA Showcase. It's a glorious Monday here at the Brand, and we're just getting started. It's Coach and Company, and we are live, as always, Prime, Direct, YouTube, wherever Stadium lives. Come on back.
Down for some deep sea fishing? Crack of dawn Saturday?
We're gonna be all right. We're 4 big, strong men.
Nicholas, it's Mom. I know you went out fishing this morning. This big storm's supposed to hit.
We have some men out on the open water.
4 men in the middle of a giant storm.
This is now a rescue mission.
No visual. Weather getting worse.
Captain, is my boy still alive?
Hope is the strongest thing that we have.
Hang on! All right. If you haven't got your tickets yet, I encourage you to do so. It's a really, really good movie. Have fun with the family. All right. Charles will be in the chat. Any questions for him, betting related or otherwise, he'll answer them for you in real time. But, gentlemen, Lane Kiffin, it wasn't all a loss for him. DG, he still made $250,000 paid by LSU because Ole Miss won a bowl game. How you negotiate that in, I have no idea, but it's a real thing.
Yeah, incentives are huge, especially in the NFL right now, but also college. These coaches, coach, they should get paid for these big bowl wins because that's what you're doing. You're bringing your team to the promised land and getting them there. Unfortunately, he's an idiot and he did choose to go to LSU and just burn bridges on the way out. But I do believe he should have got this big payday.
Brandon, did he deserve $250?
Yeah, I mean, he coached them all season. Everybody thinks that Ole Miss is just going to wrap up and die because he's gone. I think he absolutely deserves this money. He got them to this point. He is the reason why they are there, a lot of people believe. So why not pay the man?
Did you not just hear my Coachmas gift that it was Charlie Weiss? He called the game 41 on Saturday. What is wrong with you two? Raphael, make some sense to me.
Kiffin deserves $1, and his agent deserves $249,999. That's who should get it. But I heard a rumor that the players of Ole Miss had a big poster in their locker room says Lane is watching.
Oh, he was watching because you had the governors who have never played probably a sport in their lives talking the weakest trash that you've ever seen in your life. And Lane Kiffin decides to come onto Twitter at that point and say, boys, it's just a football game. Stop it, Lane. Just go sit in your office overlooking a football field that has no lights on. Ole Miss does. We're back live in 5 seconds. All right, welcome back, everybody. We are live on the Stadium Network worldwide. No, nationwide. In over 100 million homes. If you have Amazon Prime, DirecTV, YouTube TV, you have us every single morning, and we're certainly very, very proud of that. Now, there was a ton of things that went down over the weekend in college, in pro, in NBA, in college basketball. We could land anywhere. This is where we go. A little weekend rewind. All right. Well, we're going to start with a little feel good. And down, Raphael, where you live in the Big Easy, you have a couple of major teams that had kind of been forgotten about the last month or so. But not right now. You're up first.
Yeah, I have bashed New Orleans pro sports pretty much almost every time I can when you ask me that question. But you know what? The Pelicans, they won 4 straight games. They're coming off a home victory against the Pacers, 128-109. Zion is coming off the bench, which is actually helping them. So I got to give my kudos to the Pelicans and got to give my kudos to the Saints, who cashed their ticket of over 4.5. They've won 3 straight, and Tyler Shuck should be getting an Oyster contract anytime soon because he's been shucking touchdown passes left and right.
Look at you, Raphael. A little play on words. Spencer Rattler is pissed right now, but that's all right. He hasn't done anything since Netflix 5 years ago. 7. All right. Where do I go next? Well, it wasn't all rainbows and sunshine in the Motor City, where all of a sudden the bloom is off the rose for one Dan Campbell. But on the other side, Brandon, you had a Pittsburgh Steelers team that somehow threw it all. And the last 2 minutes, that took an hour, literally. But there's one guy that perhaps may not be on the field next week. Where are you heading today?
Well, first, I would like to thank Aaron Rodgers for helping the Bears clinch a playoff spot. But let's go to his wide receiver, DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf, what are you doing? DK Metcalf goes and grabs a fan by the shirt, takes a swing at him. I don't even know if he connected, but takes a swing at him. I don't understand why players have to go after fans who are talking from the stands. You make hundreds of millions of dollars in your profession. You're going to go after a guy who makes $40 an hour, maybe because he's sitting front row at a football game. $40 an hour, you're going to go after this guy because he says something to you, because you didn't like it, because he called you by your government name and you didn't like it. Stop. Why and why didn't any of his teammates or any of the staff from the Pittsburgh Steelers come over and be like, "Hey, DK, this is stupid." Why are players so dumb?
And it wasn't even like it was super close like some sidelines are, where the first row is maybe 10 feet. It was a good 20, 25-foot walk to get over there and get back. Absolute idiot. And I would fully expect him to be suspended at some point today. Now, I'm going to go next, and I'm going to go to the college football playoffs because we had one amazing game on Friday night. And if anybody thought that Alabama did not deserve to be there, well, they fell down by 17 points. And then they put their foot in the mud and they said, it's not going to happen in Norman, not this time. And all those University of Michigan rumors that Kalen DeBoer, after 2 years at Alabama, is going to go to that cesspool, that whatever you want to call it, that's not going to happen. He's staying in Alabama. And oh, by the way, my new favorite college coach, Kenny Dillingham, Arizona State, he also got a new contract, $7.5 million per, but he got $11 million for his coaching staff. But what did he say, gentlemen, when asked, what do you need to do to take it to the next level? He basically said they need a crumble cookie guy. He goes, we need one very rich person to write us a $20 million check. It's going to be very fascinating to see if that happens in the next month or two. But at least he said it, DG. At least he said it. Where are you heading today, sir?
I'm going to go with James Madison, and this was a gift. If you could do anything on your dying bed, you give somebody a gift. Well, James Madison did that to all their bettors who backed them because about 4 minutes to go in the game, they start on the 1 yard line, on their 1 yard line. Then they proceed to march 99 yards in a 9-play drive to get all the way down the field and cash a touchdown. What happens there, it might be meaningless. It might mean a lot to the actual players, but really who it means a lot to is everybody that backed JMU and said, hey, we believe in you. You're 19 and a half, 20 and a half, 21 and a half, whatever we can get number-wise on you. And they ended up losing that game by 17 points. So that is the gift that they could give.
Oh, there's a lot of Oregon bettors that when it was 34 to 6, 34 to 3, they were just counting their cash. Some of the pundits, some of the talking heads were like, Oregon took their foot off the gas pedal. Oregon lost focus. Well, maybe they just have holes in their defense because Indiana scored 30 on them on that same field. So JMU covers, but now, gentlemen, we must look forward. The quarterfinals are now set. So I've got to ask you one very simple question. Here are the matchups: Alabama and Indiana. Awesome. Ole Miss, Georgia, SEC matchup. Awesome. Oregon travels to Texas Tech or to a bowl game to play Texas Tech. Awesome. And Miami will play Ohio State after beating Texas A&M in College Station. So, DG, let me come over to you. Of these four, what do you think is going to be the best matchup?
The Hoosiers. Yeah, I'm going Indiana with the Hoosiers, the Fighting Cignettis. They are the story of last season. Coach, they're still the story of this season. You can still Google them and find out just how damn good they are because they have been amazing. And I love that they're taking on the Alabama, the team that everybody hates, the Fighting Nick Sabans, the team that honestly was like the team that won it every single year other than Georgia. And so now you're having Indiana take them on. I think this is going to be poetic, and I think Indiana just runs all over them because they're that good.
I'm so glad you used the word poetic because it seemed a little poetic that the college football gods were looking down on us. Because if you looked at social media at halftime or even at the end, whenever it was 17-0 in that Alabama-Oklahoma game, everybody put Alabama in the dirt, and they come all the way back. So, Brandon, as I come over to you, I'll ask you the same question. What do you think is going to be the best matchup?
Well, I agree with DG about Indiana rolling. I actually have Indiana winning the national title. I love Indiana in this tournament, but I'm going to go to Oregon and Texas Tech. Look, Oregon opens up as a favorite in this game somehow. And I think this is the ultimate game of high-powered defense versus high-powered offense, I should say, versus a shut you down defense. And I think that Texas Tech is the better football team in this one. I think Texas Tech can shut down Oregon. I think Texas Tech, with their linebackers, with the way that they rush the passer, can create a lot of havoc for Oregon's offense. I actually think that if you can go out right now and you can get Texas Tech at plus money, you're happy as hell come the new year when this game is going on.
Somewhere Kenny Dillingham is looking at two of, well, we know it's the biggest NIL school. Oregon's got to be right there with Phil Knight, you would think. He's given so much over the years, and somewhere Dillingham is going, just give me a little piece, just a little piece. Raphael, coming down to you, big dog. What's the best matchup?
100% agree what Brandon just said, but I'm throwing a coach's challenge because Indiana goes down in their game. I had either Oklahoma or Bama winning against Indiana. I am not sold on Indiana. You they played Big Ten, they played Ohio State, but Alabama, SEC rolls against Indiana. I have Alabama advancing. So if someone wants a coach's challenge of someone above me, I'm taking Alabama over IU.
Are you challenging somebody to a merch bet? A piece of merch bet?
Yes,
Anybody want a merch bet? Apparently not.
I'll take anything.
Yeah, I'm like, how many times do I have to say it? So we're going straight. This is straight money line. No points. I don't even know what the points are right now. All right. So I know DG wants it. So
we can go 2-1. Me and Brandon, we can go 2 to his 1.
I'll will you take 2?
Yeah, I'll take 2-1 because Alabama.
So you gotta buy 2 merch items on the Wheel of Doom, or each one of you have to buy 1 merch item on the Wheel of Doom. Yes?
Easy.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So real quick, because none of these games are on campus, which as I watched the 4 games over the weekend, I was like, man, can you imagine if they just change it, DG, to the first 2 rounds are on campus, then the semis and the finals are in a bowl game? I think that would change a lot and certainly add some advantage to the teams that have the bye, that earn the bye.
That would be big. And that's the biggest part of this. It's not really even about the fans. And I am a fan, so I want to be, the fan that wants to get this, right? But in the end of the day, it's about those top 4 seeds. They do get the bye week, but you're talking about having a bye week. Now that team who just played comes into your house. That's a whole different advantage. You don't have to go to the Rose Bowl or whatever kind of bowl you might be going to. At this point, they come into your house and have to beat you. That is the advantage I really want.
And that should be the advantage that you earn getting that bye. When they changed to the seeds, Brandon, it should have changed to that as well. Because we saw last year that having that bye, and I know it was a little bit different with the power of the teams that got the bye, but it didn't help them to have the bye and get to that second round.
Well, yeah, the whole systems, bro. You gave a bye, but now you also gave a bye before the end of the championship games and the start of the college football playoff. So now that team that gets the bye is actually sitting for 2 weeks, and the teams that didn't earn a bye still got a bye. And now you're going to go ahead and you're not even going to give these guys a home game, while the teams that didn't earn a bye get the home game. It's wild. The whole thing needs to be changed.
Yeah, it's really weird because also when you're used to playing every week, like in the NFL, it took teams, if you just go back to last year, it took teams a quarter and a half, Raphael, just to get the motors running. And by then you had teams that were up by a touchdown or sometimes even 2.
Yeah, I wouldn't do a coach's challenge if Indiana was playing this game in Bloomington. I would definitely take Texas Tech if they were playing at home against Oregon. And when I was doing numbers for favorite dog, I did 2 sets. Rose Bowl numbers, and then if this game was at home. So it was just totally different. My numbers one was 6-7 points different if they were playing at home compared to a bowl game. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens in the college football playoffs.
What did you just say? What did you just say? What did you just say?
6-7.
Somewhere DG's like, oh, my daughters won't stop. They just simply won't stop. My dog's over here shaking their heads right now. All right, we're only halfway home. On the other side, NFL storylines. And also, we take an early look before we get to the grind tonight to Monday Night Football. It's a great day, feeling great. Coaching Company live right here on Stadium. All right, you degenerates that continue to watch on our YouTube page, we love you so very much. Now, the, I guess, negative side, DG, of the playoffs over the weekend is that it was very, very glaring that the group of 5 teams did not belong on the same field with Oregon and with Ole Miss. 41-10, and then over 50 points scored for Oregon. That has to be fixed because this is not the NCAA tournament. You're not going to have an upset and a team go all the way and win 4 games in football. That you can't have Vanderbilt, Texas, who else? Notre Dame sitting at home and watching that.
Yes, you can. And it happened, and I hope it continues to happen. You can be mad about, hey, these teams just aren't maybe good enough, but they fought the entire season to get to this spot, and they were rewarded with a big game. And honestly, they came up flat. They did not win, but it was the potential Cinderella moment that this would give you. That's all I need. That actually bought me into watching these games. I don't want to see Notre Dame take on Oregon. That doesn't do it for me. Give me JMU all day.
Oh God, you're crazy. Now, Joe Klatt did have a pretty good solution. Now let's understand, for Tulane and for JMU, it was about the money. They're getting $5 to $10 million for making it in. So how about you do a group of 5 playoff, Brandon, where the winner still gets that $5 to $10 million. You get more meaningful games in the postseason instead of a 6-6 Washington State against a 6-6 whoever else they're playing today, and you can have another 8 teams play for a big chunk of change.
Yeah, honestly, I don't care how you do it, but it needs to be done outside of the college football playoff because there's no reason why a team like Notre Dame or a team like Vanderbilt or a team like Texas should have been at home watching those debacles. Cinderella moments were ruined by the end of the first quarter in both of those games. There was no chance for a Cinderella moment other than your covering on the back end. It's bad. It was bad football and wasn't fun to watch. You have a team in Notre Dame who had the third best odds to win the Natty when the final seeds came out, and they're not even in the playoffs. So it's got to change.
It's not basketball, DG. In fact, number 1 didn't beat a 16 for 50 years. We're back live in 5 seconds. All right, welcome back. We are halfway home, having a great time on a Monday. Remember, we've got 5 big shows coming out of our studios today. All you need to do is subscribe to our YouTube channels, both of them, BTT and Coaching Company, and then turn on those notifications, and every time we start a show, you will be notified. Now, still to come in about 15 minutes, NBA Showcase, 2 national games tonight. We will break both of them down right here on the show. But the NFL, you had a couple of games on Saturday. You had a game of the year on Thursday. It was an amazing week 16. So, DG, let me come over to you. Of all of the storylines coming out of the National Football League this weekend, where did your eyes go to the most?
The Bucks and Baker, they're just frauds. In the beginning of the season, we honestly applauded them for winning those one possession games, win after win, week after week. They were looking good, but I had my doubts. And what happened is the Bucks turned into pumpkins, and now they're behind the Carolina Panthers. And I don't want to take much back from them because they played their way to be in the number 1 spot in their division. But at this point, the Bucks have everything in front of them, injuries and all. They are fully healthy right now, and they still can't beat the Carolina Panthers when it means the most.
Now, I would still say that the Bucks have an advantage. They're 1 game back. I would still say they do because the Panthers have to play Seattle this week and then Tampa in week 18. And Tampa is playing Miami this week. They don't care. They got Quinn Ewers playing quarterback right now. So to me, the Bucks have the advantage, even though you're absolutely right. They are frauds. Brandon, where are you going today?
Coach, the greatest game in NFL history happened on Saturday night. The Chicago Bears and the Green Bay Packers. Not only is that rivalry storied, but the way that game played out was absolutely phenomenal. That comeback was absolutely phenomenal. The throw from Caleb Williams in the end where he throws it up to DJ Moore, puts his hands in his pocket, and then hits the Iceman pose afterwards. Are you kidding me? It was grand. And then to sit there and listen to Green Bay Packer fans and all their tears talking about, oh, they tried to come after our quarterback. They tried to do this. Well, maybe teach your quarterback not to put his head down when a tackler is coming in full force off the edge. And maybe he won't get hurt then. you sit there and talk about all you want, Green Bay Packer fans. Chicago Bears going to the playoffs. Chicago Bears are going to do exactly what I said they were going to do a month ago. They're going to win the NFC North.
They are going to win the NFC North. I think it was like, what, Raphael, was it 3% or less than 3% at the end of that game that they had to win that game? It was like lower than 3%. That was crazy. 0.9. I knew it was something like that. Onside kicks now, because you got to tell the world you're doing it with the new rules. They never work. They worked Saturday night. Absolutely banana land. Congratulations to you. And you see Mikey P, he didn't even show up for work this morning. He's not on the show, but he normally shows up. He's not even here for that. He's so wiped out. All right, Raphael, my guy, where are you headed today in the NFL?
Going to the state of Florida. When was the last time we said Jacksonville Jaguars are a really good football team? Normally, when you go there, you don't say Jaguars, you go Duval, because they went on the road and beat the Denver Broncos. Trevor Lawrence outshined Bo Nix. This is the best ball I've seen Trevor Lawrence play since Clemson. And when did Denver stop learning how to tackle? It was just embarrassment. I'm so sold on Jacksonville. They're going to be a tough out in the NFL playoffs because nobody's talking about them.
You're right. They're 11-4 right now. When you say Duval, what are you saying? I don't understand that.
That's the county they live in, Duval County. So
that's true.
And that's what they're saying.
Yep.
Yeah.
For
you never heard that? You never heard Liam Cohen's answer where he's like Duval and he says it wrong?
Bad.
No, never heard of it. Never heard of it.
Wow.
Maybe it's because they've never won. I don't know. All right, my NFL storyline is the weekend really got bookended by two of the best games, not just in the weekend, but all year. You could talk all day about the Rams and the Seahawks and the 2-point conversion. All that right there was the game of the year. Both teams north of 35 points. It was awesome. They should have 3 teams in the playoffs. But what about the late game yesterday? The Steelers going to Detroit, the same building where Aaron Rodgers played for years and years and years as the Packers quarterback. And that last 2 minutes took almost an hour. The last play took them over 2 minutes to figure it out. Pass interference on the receiver, Amon-Ra St. Brown, who caught the ball, threw it back to Jared Goff, who ran it in for a touchdown to seemingly win the game. But no, offensive pass interference. And by rule, you hate it when the refs say, by rule, the game is over. And all those shots of the fans, but the shot that I wanted was of Dan Campbell. 8-7. Playoffs, not going to happen. And now all of a sudden, the guy DG that everybody loves, Mr. Motivation, who took over the offense, 3 or 4 weeks ago? How has that gone for Detroit? This guy is not a great head coach. He's a great motivator, a great coordinator. How hot do you think the seat is right now for Dan Campbell? And a little of that poetic irony, because Mike Tomlin was on the other sidelines. He's been on the hot seat all year.
I don't know if it's hot yet, Coach. And I know that we're frustrated with him, but realistically, like, this team has been right there. They were there last year. And I get Ben Johnson was their OC, and everybody gives him a lot of credit. But honestly, the Chicago Bears are frauds themselves. They're getting so lucky. But let's talk about Dan Campbell so we don't move off too far. I think Dan Campbell is a good head coach. I just think he needs to revamp his OC, find somebody that he trusts, and that will get this Lions team over the hump for sure.
A good head coach, DG, knows how to manage the game. They're a game manager.
I agree.
When you don't know that you even have a field goal kicker, that's not managing the game. He doesn't know how to win. He thinks that scoring the most points is all you got to do. That's not it. Because sometimes field goals, Brandon, they can change the course of the game, the feel of the game. But he rarely ever does that.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I don't know that his seat is hot just yet. I think his seat is hot come next season. At the start of next season, I think people are going to start talking about if the Lions miss the playoffs again, you might see Dan Campbell get replaced in Detroit. But you're right. I mean, the way that this guy manages the game, I said it all year long about Dan Campbell is you keep waiting for him to make the call that costs the Lions the game, much like he did last year in the NFC title game, making the call that cost them the NFC championship. You can't have a head coach like that. You just
And
can't.
guys, by the way, little details. You know the play yesterday where they actually scored to win the game to Amon-Ra St. Brown, and there was offensive pass interference. He called that play. You're calling that hoping that the wide receiver on the outside doesn't just run into the defender. You've got to have a super smart guy out there. They had a young guy out there. So what happened? Penalty, and they don't win the game. It's little details like that that matter. You can't call that play in that instance unless you got a super smart wide receiver on the outside. That's it. DG, I'm right. It is.
These are professionals, Coach. They get paid to play football.
How many professionals do that play exactly? That run right into instead of going and turning around. That's how you do it. I played tight end. You got to go down and turn around. He didn't do that.
You're putting your hopes on a gimmick. On a gimmick.
You can't do that. All right, now let's flip it over, Raphael, to tonight. We'll have a full show tonight, the Monday Night Grind, 7 p.m. Eastern time. And this is a fascinating one because the Colts are the home team, and Kyle Shanahan put over Phillip Rivers like $1 million this year, saying this is why they have a better chance with him than a 22-year-old rookie. It was really good sound, and he made a lot of sense. But, Raphael, this is what I like to call a yuck number, 5.5. 49ers, they got in without playing yesterday. But do they cover tonight?
100% on the yuck number. I'm interested in the total itself. We have a 44-year-old quarterback, and people are still betting the over, which I like the over as well. I think we're going to see a lot of points scored. I think both quarterbacks go dueling back and forth, back and forth. I like the 44-year-old over on every prop bet he has tonight. That's how much scoring I think we're going to see.
Wow. Is it also because the numbers are low? Like all of his numbers I thought were pretty low when I looked at him today.
Yes.
Right. DG, do you think Phillip Rivers, now that he's got one start in his back pocket, starts to ramp it up just like he did with the lightning bolt on the side of his helmet?
I think Phillip Rivers is hoping that we can get Jonathan Taylor running because that's what he's really hoping for, because Phillip Rivers did not look good. I know they played everything close to the vest in that game, but I love the San Francisco fighting big cheesies tonight because I think they win by double digits. I know Cheese Dog's going to have a night for sure, but I think that the 49ers roll in this game.
Can we please never call him Cheese Dog again, please? Brandon, when you look at it, because all the talk has been about the Seahawks and the Rams. They have an amazing game where the Seahawks, they went for 2, and I saw a lot of people say, why would they do that? Why wouldn't they not play for the tie? Because you don't know the tiebreakers. The Rams held all of the tiebreakers. So Seattle tying that game did nothing for them. So they win. They're now sitting first, but the 49ers only have 4 losses, Brandon. They're still alive to win the division and also the number 1 seed.
They are still alive to win the division. They are still alive for the number 1 seed. They need a lot to go right in these last 3 weeks. I think they win tonight. I don't know that they cover the spread. We thought last week that the Seattle Seahawks were going to blow out the Colts, and we saw how many points they put up against that really good Rams defense and how the Colts held them down. I know it was a West Coast team heading out to the Midwest for a noon kickoff last week, but I think this Colts defense can really start to shut things down just a little bit. I think maybe they can cover the 5.5. I don't know if Phillip Rivers has a game, but I think they can cover.
Raphael, I'll let you have the last word here because last week, Seattle, they were giving 14 at home against the same team, and the Colts defense held them to 6 field goals. How much do you think the 49ers offense can get it going? Because I believe we have a best bet on Kittles to go over his receiving yards tonight.
Yeah, I think CMC and Kittle both have big games. I think that's why I like the total to go over. But if you like the Colts, grab the 5.5. Books told me this morning that there's probably going to be a solid 5 when we get close to the game time.
Can you imagine the atmosphere tonight, guys, in Indianapolis? You know, Pat McAfee's going to be down somewhere on the field level. They're going to be getting it going. It's going to be awesome. This is why we love games around the Christmas holiday. By the way, if you guys haven't looked at the quarterbacks who are playing on Thursday on Christmas Day, you may want to find games to watch is all I can say there. All right, speaking of the NBA, coming up on the other side, we've got our showcase, 2 big breakdowns as we continue on. It's Coach and Company right here on Stadium. All right, guys, 2025 continues to be the season where all of the big name quarterbacks continue to go down. Patrick Mahomes last week. We've had others. Yesterday, we had two big ones. Jordan Love, that changed the entire game against the Bears Saturday night. And then yesterday, the Baltimore Ravens lose Lamar Jackson. They still almost win the game, but alas, it was the Patriots that got the job done, and Derrick Henry needs to stop fumbling the football. DG, is this going to be a season where injured quarterbacks that aren't injured finally, ultimately decide football games?
Yeah, and this could be a season that we look at with an asterisk because yes, Josh Allen is still healthy, but he doesn't have to go against Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, even Jordan Love. There's a lot of teams that honestly they're hoping that these guys don't play so they have an easier route. But we could have the coming out party that we've already seen so far this season for Drake May. This could be a season that we see somebody stand up, and that could be Drake May and the Patriots.
Yeah, last night, how he won the game, Brandon, really showed me a lot. And that was really, it felt like a playoff game on the road against the Ravens, against Lamar Jackson. I think the way they won last night does a lot for Drake May.
Yeah, look, he won me over because he won me my 40-1 parlay. So I love Drake May today. I love Drake May anyway, though. Drake May, he's been one of those guys who, over the course of time, people didn't really believe him, but his accuracy, his leadership has really started to show up here this season. I'm starting to fall in love with this Patriots team.
They're a lot of fun to watch. Raphael, I want them to be the number one seed. I want Josh Allen to have a new Patrick Mahomes this year. I would love for the Bills to have to go to New England to go to the Super Bowl because so far Josh Allen hasn't been able to get it done. That would be, I think, kind of fun.
Yeah, I'll still take MVP Josh Allen over Drake May. I know the Patriots look fantastic. They were outstanding yesterday, but give me the MVP Allen.
By the way, if they don't get that number one seed, that 21-point lead they had that they blew against the Bills, that's going to haunt them the entire postseason. We'll see if it even matters, though. All right, we're back live in just 5 seconds. Okay, welcome back, everybody. Coach and Company here on Stadium, YouTube, and the socials. Tonight, 7 games in the National Basketball Association. And normally it is Christmas Day where people start to shift their focus a little bit away from the NFL to the NBA. And now with all of the injured quarterbacks, the games on Thursday, well, as DG would say, they suck. So it's going to be all about the NBA. But tonight, DG, you've got 2 teams that absolutely are a ton of fun to watch. You've got the Hornets and the Cavs. That's the first game tonight on Peacock. And the Hornets against the Hawks a couple of games ago scored 80 in the first half, gave up 69 in that same first half. So tonight could be a ton of fun. Cavs at home favored by 9.5. I thought the over or the total would be over 240.
Yeah, that total is still high, but I thought it would even be higher, just as you said. But I like the Charlotte Hornets at plus 9.5. I think that they can hang in. Plus, there's so much going on with the injury reports within the NBA as normal. But tonight, we could have some people show up on the injury report, especially this close to the holidays. And at that point, I like a plus 9.5 anytime I can get it.
When I look at both these teams, Brandon, Cleveland started off like a house of fire. The Hornets defense is just a suggestion on most nights, but the Cavs have got to start locking in because the Pistons are starting to get so big of a lead, you might not be able to catch them in the second half.
Yeah, it's the NBA, coach. Everything is defense is always optional in the NBA. Look, I love the number here as well on the total. I think both of these teams have the ability to shoot lights out. Both of these teams have the ability to not play defense and just let you shoot lights out. So I think that 238.5, I'm with you. I think it's a low number.
Yeah. Cleveland right now is the 8th seed, Raphael. And they came in this year with the Knicks. So I think a lot of people thought they would be the 2 teams that meet in the Eastern Conference Finals with Jason Tatum being out. But they're just a game over 500. They got to get things going.
Yeah, because it's their bench. They have no bench support, and I think that's why this total is so low. It's opened up at 234.5. It's now 238.5. I just checked. One book told me probably going to see close to 239, maybe 240. If this was a 10 o'clock game, like a West Coast game, 241 would be the closing total.
Wow. Now let's flip it over to the late game, and this is the Oklahoma City Thunder. They're 25-3. but they've lost 2 of their last 3 games. And DG, they've been very vocal about wanting to match or exceed the Golden State Warriors record for most wins. We know there's going to be a little bit of a lull, but they're playing your squad, your Grizzlies, who are starting to figure it out. All of a sudden, you're not having Ja Morant in the news other than having decent games. I think this number is way too high, despite the gift that Chuck had us open at the beginning of the show.
Well, Coach, unfortunately, I know you have a play on this one, but it scares me because I think this Thunder team is motivated. If you look back on December 2nd, 2021, when the Grizzlies beat the Thunder by 73 points, I'm not saying it's possible, but I think that there's a chance that the Thunder could go for a 74-point win tonight because they hate the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies hate them. This is a rivalry game that nobody really talks about a lot. I think the Thunder roll tonight.
And I do love Garth Brooks. So what I'm going to do is if they win by 25 or more, I will put up a piece of merch tomorrow on the Wheel of Doom. So we got a lot of merch on Christmas week up for grabs. Gentlemen, well done. All right, it's time to bring Chuck back as we lock it in. All right, Big Chuck, we got 3 plays. Let's have you start us off. 10 seconds or less, 1 or 2 nuggets. It's all that I need. What do we got? DG, 3 plays. Let's go.
Let's go. Eddie Pinheiro going to go over this 1.5 field goals at -110. He's cashed 80% of the season on these. Con Knippel for the Hornets to score 20 or more points at plus money, +115, in a high-scoring game, starting off hot early the first quarter in that game, over 57.5 at -110.
Raphael.
Give me Christian McCaffrey over 38.5 receiving yards. He's hit this 12 out of 14 times this year. And then in college hoops, give me Northern Illinois St. Mary's over 130.5. This total open up at 126.5. I still think there's value.
Wow. Okay. Brandon.
Yeah, let's go with Brock Purdy's favorite target, Jawan Jennings, anytime touchdown, +135. And then let's go to the other side of the ball. Jonathan Taylor under 119.5 rushing and receiving yards. I think the San Francisco defense is going to key in on him, and they're going to try to make Phillip Rivers beat them tonight.
All right. And if you're going to cash with the coach, you're going to do it with these 2. Hornets Cavs over 238.5 as a collective unit. We believe this is at least 1 or 2 points too low. And then we've got merch on the line. Grizzlies getting 15.5. They lose by 25 or more, I will put up a piece of merch on the Wheel of Doom. All right, Raphael, make me a little bit smarter.
Who doesn't like a Monday Night Football inside info? The Indianapolis Colts have failed to cover the spread in 7 out of the last 8 games as underdogs against NFC opponents.
Wait a second. Say that to me one more time.
The Indianapolis Colts have failed to cover the spread in 7 of their last 8 games as underdogs against NFC opponents.
Wow, and they're playing the 49ers tonight. Chuck, let me come over to you, big dog, because we've been talking about the total. You're my totals guy. How do you see Monday Night Football tonight?
Definitely like points, like the over, like the 49ers team total over 26.5. I like the Colts team total. Yeah, lots of points.
Lots of points. 26.5. I thought it might be up close to 28, but I think maybe because Seattle couldn't get there, maybe that's why it's at 26.5. Very, very interesting. All right, we've got a college bowl game today. Raise your hand if you know who is playing in it. How sad is that?
Idaho Potato Bowl.
The Idaho, yeah, but who are the teams?
It's Utah State versus is it Washington State? I know it's Utah State. I know the Aggies are playing.
It's Washington State
and it's
Utah State. You were close. You were really, really close. Tomorrow there's 3 games: Toledo, Louisville, Western Kentucky, Southern Miss, and UNLV and Ohio. And if you know, you know Ohio. I wonder who's going to be coaching them, DG.
No idea. I know that UNLV, we have the Dan Mullen. He's coaching. He's still there. They're going to win.
UNLV's are really good. They're going to blow
They
the
are.
doors off of Ohio tomorrow. I mean, absolutely blow the doors off of Ohio. One final little nugget coming out of the world of pro wrestling is reported yesterday. Do you guys know how much The Rock has made since TKO brought him back to be on the board of directors, but yet has only shown up twice this year on WWE television? Anybody know the number?
Is it like 80 million? Or
80?
$80 million. $80 million. And people question on the Coach and Bro show today at 5 p.m. Eastern time when we said there are issues between The Rock and Triple H. $80 million. Hasn't tweeted, hasn't posted, hasn't said anything about WWE programming all year. Gentlemen. Great job today. Appreciate you guys. All right, producer man, give me that one shot. Let's set the table for what we have going across the board today. Now, we do have a podcast that supports the morning show. It's on YouTube. If you want to listen audio only, you can do through Believe. Everywhere the podcasts are, we're talking everything over the week. And then at 2 o'clock today on SiriusXM, channel 156, it is Off the Ropes with your boy. And we're talking everything pro wrestling, Monday Night Raw, what happened on SmackDown. And also, we'll talk about The Rock making $80 million. Makes the whole Walmart video and Dwanta Claus make a lot more sense. It was really, really cool. If you haven't seen it, look it up on YouTube. And then tonight, Coach and Bro, 5 p.m. Eastern time. And then the Monday Night Grind is we'll really get in to player props, the totals, the spreads, all of that between the 49ers traveling to the Heartland to take on the Indianapolis Colts. But in the meantime, there's only one thing left to do. And I believe you all know what that is. You've got your marching orders. Let's take all of these tickets straight to the pay window. My entire team, damn it, I love them all. My man Chuck, DG, Brandon, Raphael, producer man behind the scenes, Mikey P, always helping. I am the coach trying to keep this train on said track. We grind for you, so we're going with you. It's what it's all about. Coaching Company live on Stadium. We'll see you later today. Take care.